Hanover Square Press and HarlequinAudio present Midnight in Soap Lake, a novel by Matthew Sullivan, performed by Kristen Sieh. For Rachel and Lulu, who were babies in Soap Lake. Alone, alone, alone. I bed in with many graves. Author unknown. Hut Talk. Irish 8th or 9th century. Version by Martin Shaw and Tony Hoagland. Part 1. The Boy. Chapter 1. Abigail. Something was there. An animal. Abigail was certain, loping in the sagebrush. A twist of fuzz moving through the desert at the edge of her sight. The morning had already broken 100. Her glasses steamed, and sunscreen stung her eyes. Or maybe she hadn't seen anything. Yesterday, while walking along this desolate irrigation road, she'd spotted a cow skull between tumbleweeds, straight out of a tattoo parlor. But when she ran toward it, bracing to take a picture to send to Eli across the planet, proof perhaps that she ever left the house, she discovered it was just a white plastic grocery bag snagged on a curl of sage bark. Somehow, way out here, the desert was scabby with dark basalt, bristled with the husks of flowers, and nothing was ever there. When Eli first told her he'd landed a grant to research a rare lake in the Pacific Northwest, Abigail thought ferns and rain, ale and slugs, Sasquatch and wool. And then they got here, to this desert where no one lived, not a fern or slug in sight. This had been the most turbulent year of her life. 11 months ago they met. 7 months ago they married. 6 months ago they moved from her carpeted condo in Denver to this sun-baked town on the shores of Soap Lake, a place where neither knew a soul. Their honeymoon had lasted almost 3 months, Eli whistling in his downstairs lab, Abigail unpacking and painting upstairs. And then he kissed her at the airport, piled onto a plane, and moved across the world to work in a different lab, on a different project, at a different lake, in Poland. When she remembered him lately, she remembered photographs of him. The plan had been to text all the time, daily calls, romantic flights to Warsaw. But the reality was that Eli had become too busy to chat, and seemed more frazzled than ever. This week had been particularly bad, because he'd been off the grid on a research trip. So every call went to voicemail, every text into the Polish abyss. And then at 5 o'clock this morning, her phone pinged, and Abigail shot right out of a drowning sleep to grab it, as if he'd tossed her a life preserver from 6,000 miles away. And this is what he'd had to say. Sorry missed you. So much work, and my research all effed up. I'll call this weekend. XO, E. As she was composing a response, her phone the only glow in their dark, empty home, he added a postscript that stabbed her in the heart like an icicle. P.S. Maybe it time since remember using time to figure out self-life? What kind of a sentence was that? And what was a self-life, anyway? Abigail had called him right away. When he didn't pick up, she went down to the lab he'd set up in their daylight basement. She opened a few of his binders with their charts of Soap Lake, their colorful DNA diagrams, their photos of phosphorescent microbes, as cosmic as images from deep space. She breathed the papery dust of his absence and tried to imagine he'd just stepped out for a minute and would be back in a flash. Her clueless, brilliant husband, pen between his teeth, hair a smoky eruption, mustard stains on the plaid flannel bathrobe he wore in place of a lab coat. From one of his gleaming refrigerators, Abigail retrieved a rack of capped glass tubes that contained the miracle water and the miracle microbes collected from the mineral lake down the hill. She sometimes wondered if her limnologist husband would be more at home on the shores of Loch Ness, and held one until a memory arose, like
Sample complete. Ready to continue?